Hello students. So in the last class we have discussed regarding the human excretory system. In detail we have studied the human excretory system, structure of kidney and all. Then urine formation and what are the steps involved in the urine formation we have studied. Then third concept was the functions of tubules. So again, in function of tubules, what are the functions of proximal convoluted tubule and distal convoluted tubule and the loop of Henle's and the collecting tubes. Okay, so all this we have discussed in the last class. So today we will move on to the another most important concept of this chapter, that is the mechanism of concentration of the filtration. Okay, so mechanism of concentration of filtration we'll see. So as you already know that all the mammals they have got the tendency to concentrate the filtrate. Okay, so again here this concentration of the filtrate, it depends upon the length of the loop of Henle's and the vasa recta. Okay, it depends upon the length of the loop of Henle's and the vasa rectum. Fine. So again here the mechanism of concentration of the filtrate, it is also known as counter current mechanism. It is also known as counter current mechanism. Okay, so let's see what are the mechanism or what are the steps involved in mechanism of concentration of filtrate. So mammals, they have ability to produce the concentrated urine. Fine. Mammals, they have ability to concentrate the urine, right? So again here the Henle's loop and the vasa recta, they plays a significant role in the concentrating of the urine. So again here the two parts which plays an important role in the urine concentration are, one is Henle's loop and another one is the vasa recta. Fine. So again here the concentration, it depends upon the length of the loop of Henle's and the vasa recta. The flow of filtrate in these two limbs of the Henle's loop. So you already know that the loop of Henle's, it is made up of ascending limb and another one is a descending limb. Ascending loop of Henle's and the descending loop of Henle's. So again here the flow of filtrate in the two limbs of loop of Henle's and the blood, it generally flow in the two limbs of the vasa recta in the opposite direction. The flow of the filtrate generally it will takes place in the two opposite direction. So it is commonly we call it as a counter current. It forms a counter current. Fine. So again here the proximity between the Henle's loop and the vasa recta as well as the counter current, it is helpful in the maintenance and the increasing in the osmolarity towards the inner medullary interstatum. Okay, so generally here this counter current mechanism, it helps in the maintaining the osmolarity of the ions. Fine. In the inner medullary interstatum. Fine. So again here in the inner medullary interstatum, generally it forms in the cortex region. It will form nearly 300 m osmolarity per liter. 300 m osmolarity per liter. Then in the middle region, that is in about 1200 in the inner medulla. In the inner cortex region it is about 300. When it comes to the inner medullary, it is approximate around 1200. Fine. The gradient is mainly due to the sodium chloride and the urea. This gradient, it is mainly due to the release of two ions. One is sodium chloride and the one is the urea. Fine. So again here in the mechanism, that is in the counter current mechanism or the concentrate of the filtrate. So generally here the two important aspects which comes is the one is the loop of Henle's and the one is the vasa recta. Fine. And this osmolarity will remains the same in the cortex and the medullary region. So in the cortex it is approximately 300 and in the medulla, so again here in the medullary region, that is 2 in the inner medullary and outer medullary. So in inner medullary it is around 600 and in outer medullary it is nearly 900. Fine. Next, the sodium chlorides, they are actively transported from the ascending limb of the Henle's loop. First, what happens here? The sodium chlorides are actively transported from ascending limb. They are actively transported from ascending limb of loop of Henle's. So this is ascending limb and this is a descending limb. This is a loop of Henle's. Fine. This is a Bowman's capsule. Fine. This is a cortex region. The abdomen is a cortex. So here nearly 300. It will maintain 300 osmolarity will be maintained. So outer medullary here 600 to 900 range, around 1200 it will be. So what happens here? The sodium chloride are actively transported from the ascending limb of Henle's loop. It is exchanged by the ascending portion of the vasa recta. Sodium chloride are actively transported from the ascending limb of Henle's loop and it is exchanged from the ascending portion of the vasa recta. Fine. Then the sodium chloride is retained to the interstratum by the ascending portion of the vasa recta. It is retained in the ascending limb of the vasa recta. Here you can see it is retained. So again here, what happens? The small amount of urea, it enters in the thin segment of the ascending limb of the Henle's loop, which is transported back to the interstratum of the collecting tube. Small amount of urea, it enters the thin segment of ascending limb, which is transported back. Here it is. Okay. Which is transported back to the interstratum of the collecting tubes. Fine. So this about described transport of substances, they are facilitated by the special arrangement of Henle's loop and the vasa recta, which is called as counter current mechanism. So considering all these points, these characters, generally the transport of substances, generally they are facilitated by the special arrangement of Henle's loop and the vasa recta. We commonly call it as counter current mechanism. This mechanism, it generally helps in the maintenance of concentration of gradient in the medullary interstratum and that promotes the easy passage of water from the collecting ducts. So what's the function of this counter current mechanism? It generally helps in maintaining the concentration gradient in the medullary interstratum that promotes the easy passage of the water from the collecting duct, and it also leads to the formation of the concentrated urine. Fine. So here you can see, at last after the exchange of all these metals, it helps in the releasing the concentrated urine. So these are the some of the points where you can remember in the counter current mechanism. So what is the first point? Concentration of sodium chloride increases in the descending limb due to the loss of water. So where does the sodium chloride increases? In the descending limb due to the loss of water. Then in the ascending limb, the salt passes actively and passively into the interstratum, making the filtrate dilute. Okay, then this urea, it diffuses out from the collecting duct and it re-enters to the ascending limb by the diffusion. Then the remaining urea is excreted in the urine. In the collecting duct, the water removes out by the osmosis and the urine becomes more concentrated. Fine. At last, what is the output of this counter current mechanisms? Where we get the concentrated urine. Fine. Next is the regulation of kidney functions. So far we have discussed regarding the mechanism of the concentration of the filtrate. Fine. So filtrate and the urine ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗೋದು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಅದು ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಫೈನ್. ಅದು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅದ್ರ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಅದಾವ, ಒಂದು ಲೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೆನ್ಲಿಸ್ ಅದ ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವ್ಯಾಸ ರೆಕ್ಟಾ ಅದ. ಫೈನ್. ಆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಫಿಲ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ಸ್, ಅದು ಏನು ಫಿಲ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್ಸ್ ಎರಡು ಲಿಮ್ಸ್ನೇ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು ಲೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೆನ್ಲಿಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ವ್ಯಾಸ ರೆಕ್ಟಾ ಒಳಗೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ದೇ ಜನರಲಿ ಮೂವ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಅಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್. Okay, the two limbs of vasa recta, they move in the opposite direction, which commonly forms the counter current. Mechanism of concentration of filtrate ಈಗ counter current mechanism ಅಂತಲೂ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನದ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಿಡ್ನಿ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಅದ. ಸೊ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಿಡ್ನಿ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್, ಹೌ ಡಸ್ ದ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಟೆಡ್? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ is by the regulation of ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone. Fine. So osmoreceptors which are present in the hypothalamus, what they will do, they are activated by the change of blood volume and the body fluid volume and ionic concentration. The osmolarity which is present in the hypothalamus, they are activated by change of blood volume, blood fluid volume and ionic concentration. Right. Then the excess loss of body fluid activates the osmoreceptors. Okay, the excessive loss of body fluid, what does they will do? They activates the osmoreceptors of the hypothalamus to release the anti-diuretic hormone. ಸೊ ಬಾಡಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸಸ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಆಗ್ಲತ್ತಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಏನು ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವೇಟ್ ಆಟ್ಸ್ಮೋ ರಿಸೆಪ್ಟಾರ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೈಪೋಥೆಲಾಮಸಿಗೆ ಏನು ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಟು ರಿಲೀಸ್ ದಿ ಆ್ಯಂಟಿ ಡಯೂರಿಟಿಕ್ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್, ADH ಆ್ಯಂಟಿ ಡಯೂರಿಟಿಕ್ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್, ಆರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ನೋನ್ ಆಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಸೋಪ್ರೆಸಿನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ನ್ಯೂರೋ ಹೈಪೋಫೈಸಿಸ್. ನ್ಯೂರೋ ಹೈಪೋಫೈಸಿಸ್ನಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಆ್ಯಂಟಿ ಡಯೂರಿಟಿಕ್ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ಆರ್ ವ್ಯಾಸೋಪ್ರೆಸಿನ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಸ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್, ಬಾಡಿ ಒಳಗಿಂದ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆದಾಗ, ಎಕ್ಸಸ್ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆದಾಗ ADH ಮತ್ತು ಅವ್ರ ವ್ಯಾಸೋಪ್ರೆಸಿನ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಇದ್ರ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಏನದ, ADH ಜನರಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೇಟ್ಸ್ ದಿ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವ್ ರೀಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟಲ್ ಕನ್ವಲ್ಯೂಟೆಡ್ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಯೂಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಡೈರಿಯಾಸಿಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಎಕ್ಸಸ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಏನು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಂದರೆ ರೀಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಅದ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಬಾಡಿ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಆಸ್ಮೋ ರಿಸೆಪ್ಟಾರ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಸಪ್ರೆಸಸ್ ದ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ADH. ಅದು ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಬಾಡಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಬಾಡಿ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್, ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಅದು ಆಸ್ಮೋ ರಿಸೆಪ್ಟರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಜನರಲಿ ದೇ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಸ್ ಟು ಸಪ್ರೆಸ್ ದಿ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ADH. ADH ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗೋದು ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಟಿ ಡಯೂರಿಟಿಕ್ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ದೆನ್ ಪ್ರಮೋಟಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಡೈಲ್ಯೂಟ್ ಯೂರಿನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್, ಡೈಲ್ಯೂಟ್ ಯೂರಿನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ADH ಇಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟ್ಸ್ ದ afferent renal arterioles and increases the blood pressure in the other hand to maintain the glomerular filtration rate. GRF ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಫೈನ್. ಸೊ ಆ್ಯಂಟಿ-ಡಯೂರೆಟಿಕ್ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ADH in the function another one, it helps in the maintenance. So generally when the excess loss of fluid which takes place in the body, these osmoreceptors of hypothalamus, it will release the ADH, that is anti-diuretic hormone or vasopressin from the neurohypophysis. Then it also facilitates the reabsorption of water from DCT, distal convoluted tubule ಒಳಗಿಂದು ವಾಟರ್ ರೀಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಬಾಡಿ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ದೆನ್ ADH ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಪ್ರಮೋಟಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಡೈಲ್ಯೂಟ್ ಯೂರಿನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್. ಫೈನ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನದ, ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಜೆಕ್ಸ್ಟಾಗ್ಲಾಮ್ಯುಲರ್ ಅಪರೇಟಸ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಜೆಕ್ಸ್ಟಾಗ್ಲಾಮ್ಯುಲರ್ ಅಪರೇಟಸ್ ಏನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಫಾಲ್ ಇನ್ ಗ್ಲಾಮ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಫ್ಲೋ. ಓಕೆ, ದ ಫಾಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಗ್ಲಾಮ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಆರ್ ಗ್ಲಾಮ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ or glomerular filtrate rate, it can activate the juxtaglomerular cells to release the renin. ಅದು renin ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಫೈನ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆ್ಯಂಟಿ-ಡಯೂರೆಟಿಕ್ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರೆನಿನ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರೆನಿನ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆದಾಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ, ದಿಸ್ ರೆನಿನ್ ಇಟ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಂಜಿನೋಟೆನ್ಸಿನೋಜನ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಟು ಆಂಜಿನೋಟೆನ್ಸಿನ್ 1 ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಂಜಿನೋಟೆನ್ಸಿನ್ 2. ಆಂಜಿನೋಟೆನ್ಸಿನ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಆಂಜಿನೋಟೆನ್ಸಿನೋಜೆನ್, ದಿಸ್ ರೆನಿನ್ ಇಟ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಂಜಿಯೋಟೆನ್ಸಿನೋಜೆನ್ ಇಂಟು ಆಂಜಿನೋಟೆನ್ಸಿನ್ 1 ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಂಜಿನೋಟೆನ್ಸಿನ್ 2. ಫೈನ್. ರೆನಿನ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಂಜಿಯೋಟೆನ್ಸಿನೋಜೆನ್ ಇನ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಟು ಆಂಜಿನೋಟೆನ್ಸಿನ್ 1 ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ further it is converted into angiotensin 2. Angino 1 ಮತ್ತು angino 2 ಎರಡು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Further this angiotensin 2 it constructs an afferent renal arteries to increase the glomerular blood pressure and thereby the glomerular filtration rate. Glomerular blood pressure increase ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಫೈನ್. increase blood pressure, glomerular filtration rate ಮತ್ತು glomerular blood pressure increase ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. Then angiotensin 2 it also stimulates the adrenal cortex to release the aldosterone. ಇದು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್, it constricts the afferent renal arterioles to increase the glomerular blood pressure ಮತ್ತು glomerular filtration rate ಎರಡು ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಂದು, it stimulates the adrenal cortex. Fine. It stimulates the adrenal cortex to stimulate the aldosterone. Fine. It stimulates the adrenocortex to release the aldosterone. Fine. Then this aldosterone, it causes an active reabsorption of sodium. This aldosterone, what does it will do? It causes an active reabsorption of sodium and water from the distal part of the tubules. This increase in the blood volume and the glomerular filtration rate. This complex mechanism we commonly call it as RASS, that is renin angiotensin aldosterone system. ಸೊ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮಿಗೆ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, RAS ಅಂತಂದರೆ ರೆನಿನ್ ಆಂಜಿಯೋಟೆನ್ಸಿನ್ ಆಲ್ಡೋಸ್ಟಿರಾನ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. ಫೈನ್. ಸೊ ಯಾವಾಗ ಇದು ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ವ್ಯಾನ್ ದ ಆಲ್ಡೋಸ್ಟಿರಾನ್ ಇಟ್ ಕಾಸಸ್ ಅನ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವ್ ರಿಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೋಡಿಯಂ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಟ್ಯೂಬ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್. So what does it will do? It generally helps in increasing the blood volume and also the glomerular filtration rate, and it forms a complex which is commonly known as renin angiotensin aldosterone system. So here you can see that when this renin generally releases, it is this angiotensinogen, it's converted into angiotensin 1 and angiotensin 2. Further, this angiotensin 2, it also acts directly to the blood vessels and stimulating the vasoconstriction. Fine. Then apart from this renin, it also acts as an angiotensin to form 1. So here you can see that angiotensin covering the enzyme from the, it releases from the lungs and it acts in the form of angiotensin 2. Then this angiotensin, it also acts on the adrenal gland, it stimulates the adrenaline. Further, this aldosterone, it is adrenal gland stimulates to release the aldosterone. Fine. So this aldosterone, it acts on the kidney to stimulate reabsorption of salts like sodium and the water. The aldosterone, what it will do? It will act on this kidney. Fine. And it stimulates for the reabsorption of sodium chloride and the water. It's clear. This is the same. This is the same only. Simple. Angiotensin 2, it also stimulates the aldosterone and it increases water and sodium retention. It increases the blood pressure and also it brings about the vasoconstriction. Is this clear? That is the regulation of juxtaglomerular filtration. Next, the regulation of ANF, that is atrial natriuretic factor. An increase in blood flow of the atria or the auricles of the heart, it is mainly due to the RAS, and it causes the release of ANF, that is atrial natriuretic factor. Okay, what does it will do? It is generally causes an vasodilation, that is afferent renal arteries, and thereby decreases the blood pressure. Vasodilation ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಮತ್ತು blood pressure decrease ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. Then it also stops the release of renin and hence stop the RAS. Okay. Next, another concept is that mixturation. So again, what do you mean by mixturation? It is an expulsion of urine from the urinary bladder. Okay. So from the kidney, after the complete filtration, the urine, it is stored in the urinary bladder before the elimination. So from the urinary bladder, what happens is it is a reflex pressure, but it can be controlled voluntarily to some extent in the grown up children and the adults. Fine. It can be controlled by the voluntarily, it can be controlled for the some extent in the grown up adults and the children. So what happens here, when the central nervous system sends this signal, it causes the stretching of the urinary bladder. The signal is sent to the central nervous system and it causes the stretching of the urinary bladder when it gets filled with the urine. So when the bladder is filled with urine, the signals are sent to the central nervous system to stretch the urinary bladder. Fine. In response, they stretches the respiratory on the walls of the bladder and it sends the signals to central nervous system. Then further, the central nervous system, it passes on the motor signal to initiate the contraction of the smooth muscles of the bladder. Fine. Further, in return, the CNS, it will send the messages on the to initiate the contraction of the smooth muscles. Fine. Then further, the bladders and simultaneously the relaxation of urethral sphincters causes the release of the urine. Fine. So urine release ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, the message is sent to the fine, the message is sent to the central nervous system, which where it is, sends in information for the stretching of the urinary bladder. Fine. So in return, this central nervous system, what does it will do? It will passes the motor message to initiate the contraction of the smooth muscles of the bladder, and simultaneously the relaxation of the urethral sphincter causes the release of the urine. Fine. So next, an adult human generally they excretes on an average of 1 to 1.5 liters of urine per day. Okay, so a healthy person on average adult human, so generally they excrete on an average of 1 to 1.5 liters of urine per day. Then on an average nearly 25 to 30 grams of urea are excreted per day. Fine. On an average of 25 to 30 grams of urea are excreted out per day. Fine. Then the presence of glucose is called as glycosuria, and the presence of ketone bodies in the urine, it is called as ketonuria, and the glycosuria and the ketonuria are the induction for the diabetes mellitus. Fine. So that's about the mixturation. Next comes the role of other organs in the excretion. So apart from the kidneys in our body, we have got other organs also which plays in the elimination of waste. First comes the lungs. So again here the lungs, it helps in removing the carbon dioxide and the water. Then liver it secretes the bilirubin and biliverdin. So generally it helps to eliminate the substances along with the cholesterol, vitamins, drugs, and also degraded steroidal hormones through the digestive waste. Then sweat and sebaceous glands are also associated for the elimination of this waste, like the glands of the skin. So generally they help to eliminate the small amount of the urea. Fine. Skin will also plays in the elimination of a small amount of urea from the body. Then the sodium chloride and the lactic acid, etc. Though the sweat, the sebaceous glands, they helps to eliminate some of the substances like steroidal hydrocarbons and waxes through the sebum. Fine. Then another, apart from this, the other organ, that is saliva, it can also helps in the eliminating the small amount of nitrogenous waste. Fine. So we'll see in detail what are the role of these organs. So again here, liver, lung, skin, they plays a very important role in the process of the excretion. So what is the first role of the liver? So as you already know that the liver is the largest gland in the vertebrates, right? It helps in the excretion of cholesterol, steroid hormone, vitamins, drugs, and other waste materials through the bile. Fine. Then urea, which is formed in the liver by the ornithine cycle. Ammonia, or toxic substances, is quickly changed into urea in the liver and eliminated in the body. From the body it is eliminated. So apart from this liver, it is also helps change in the decomposed hemoglobin pigment into the bile pigment, which is through the bilirubin and the biliverdin. Then role of lungs. Lungs helps in removing the waste materials such as carbon from the body, carbon dioxide from the body. Then the skin. So we have already studied the role of the skin and sweat glands, sebaceous glands. Skin has many glands which helps in excreting the waste products through the pores. It has two types of glands. One is sweat gland and another one is the sebaceous gland. So sweat glands are highly vascular and they are tubular glands that separates the waste products from the blood and excrete in the form of the sweat. Sweat excrete the excess salt and the water from the body. So this to keep in mind. Sweat, it will, what does it will do? Sweat ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಂತಂದರೆ it will excrete the excess water, excess salt and the water from the body. And sebaceous glands are branched glands that is secretes in the oily secretion, which is called as a sebum. Fine. Okay, next comes the disorders of the excretory system, the most important part of this chapter, that is the disorders. We'll see what are the disorders which are associated with human excretory system. So first one is the uremia. So uremia, it is nothing but the accumulation of urea in the blood due to the malfunctioning of the kidney. Fine. So accumulation of excess of urea in the blood, we commonly call it as the um, accumulation of urea in the blood. It mainly leads to disorder which is known as the uremia. Then another one is the hemodialysis. So this hemodialysis, at least if people are very much familiar, you heard that how this process is done. If the person who is suffering from any of these kidney disorders, generally they undergo this process which is known as hemodialysis. So what happens in hemodialysis? The process of removal of urea from the blood artificially. Hemodialysis is nothing but it is one of the process which is carried out by removal of the urea from the blood artificially. In this process, the blood from the artery is passed into the dialyzing unit after adding an anticoagulant like heparin. Ali heparin add ಮಾಡ್ತಾರ. Anticoagulant like heparin, it is added in the dialyzing unit. Then the blood passes through the coiled cell phone tube surrounding the dialysis fluid. Fine. Then the nitrogenous waste from the concentration gradient and the blood becomes very much clear. So blood ಒಳಗೆ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ nitrogenous waste collect ಆಗ್ತದೆ, complete blood ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ purify ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Then the blood is pumped back to the body through the vein after adding the anti-heparin to it. Fine. Then another disorder is the renal calculi, that is it is mainly due to the formation of insoluble mass of crystallized salts. Kidney stones ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ವಿ. So one of the most common kidney stones ಸರಿ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ತದೆ, that is commonly renal calculi, which is mainly formed by the formation of insoluble mass of crystallized salts. Then another one is this glomerular nephritis. So here it is mainly caused due to the inflammation of glomeruli of the kidney. Kidney glomeruli inflammation ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Fine. So these are the common disorders which are associated with the excretory system. One is uremia. This uremia, it is mainly caused due to the accumulation of urea in the blood. Another one is the hemodialysis. Then renal calculi, it's commonly known as kidney stones, the formation of kidney stones, or it is mainly due to the formation of insoluble mass of crystallized salts. Then glomerulonephritis, it is mainly caused due to the inflammation of glomeruli of the kidney. Fine. So these are the disorders. So here you can see that hemodialysis, so how the dialysis are done. So these are some of the equipments which are used. So what happens in dialysis? The blood is removed by the tube and it is pumped through the special tubing that act like a nephrons. Okay. So here you can see that veins, arteries. Okay. So there is a blood pump. This is a dialyzing machine and this is the air detector. Through the vein the blood further it is injected and this is carried. Completely dialysis will take place, that is purified. Fine. This is used, dialysis fluid is used. So the tiny pores in the tubing, they allow the salt and small molecules to pass through and the waste diffuses out the blood into the fluid filled chamber, allowing the purified blood to be retained in the body. Complete purification agi waste ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಈ ಚೇಂಬರ್ನಾಗ. So this is one of the method, that is the hemodialysis. So hemodialysis, just once again I will say, just listen. Hemodialysis andrenu? Hemodialysis nothing but it is a process of removal of urea from the blood. It is a process of removal of urea. So blood ಒಳಗೆ excess urea ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ then that urea will be removed from the blood. Fine. Then in this process the blood from the artery is passed into the dialyzing unit by adding an anticoagulant like heparin. Fine. Then the blood passes through the coiled cell phone tube which is surrounding by the dialyzing fluid. Then the nitrogenous waste from the concentration gradients and blood becomes very clear. Then the blood is pumped back to the body through the vein after adding the heparin to it. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಟರೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಯಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಮಷೀನಾಗ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಪ್ಯೂರಿಫಿಕೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಯೂರಿಯಾ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ಯೂರಿಫೈ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಫರ್ದರ್ ಅದು ಪ್ಯೂರಿಫೈಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಮತ್ತು ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಒಳಗೆ, ಸಾರಿ ಬಾಡಿ ಒಳಗೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಸ್. So these are the disorders of excretory system. So just once I will show you all the slides once again. So in the today's class, just we have discussed regarding the mechanism of concentration of filtrate. So in mechanism or the countercurrent mechanism. Then regulation of kidneys by regulation of ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone. Then regulation of juxtaglomerular apparatus. Then regulation of anti-natriuretic factor (ANF). Then menstruation is nothing but the expulsion of urine from the urinary bladder. Okay. Then apart from the excretory system, the other organs are also associated with the kidney, which helps in the elimination of waste. That is liver, lungs and the skin. Even they will also play a very important role in the process of excretion. The last comes the disorders: uremia, hemodialysis, renal calculi and glomerulonephritis. Okay, hope it is clear to you. So that's about the excretory system, excretion, and that is the elimination of waste from the body. Okay, excretory products and their elimination. Hope this chapter is clear to you. Fine. So see you in the next class.